This is Land Rover Discovery 5. This is my second date with this car, but this time I had more time to focus on features which under normal circumstances would not make it into the regular review. So sit back and join me for nine things you should know about the new Wish Land Rover Discovery.
Cameras. For almost 5 meters long and over 2 meters wide, Land Rover Discovery is relatively maneuverable. However, when you have to make a 90 degrees turn and get a ticket from a parking machine before the gate opens, you may find it difficult to judge where the front corner is in relation to the gate. For the first few days, I wished this car had a 360-degree camera. It turned out it did, but I didn't know how to activate it. Instead of a physical button, everything is on the touchscreen. It's a similar problem with Volvo's current infotainment system. I realize designers want to keep the center console clean, but certain functions should remain easily accessible. For example, in this car, you can access heated seat settings in 3 ways.
Since we're talking about cameras, lens for the reversing camera often gets dirty, especially on a day like this when it was raining and snowing and now the whole tailgate is muddy. However, there is a solution for that. When you press the rear window washer button, also the camera gets rinsed. This solution was widely introduced by Nissan a couple of years ago, so now I think you can even get it in a Note and possibly Micra.
Speaking of the rear wiper, you probably noticed in some cars after washing the window, wiper will do a couple more runs to remove any excess water from the glass. In Land Rover Discovery, the rear wiper does that for a good minute or so to make sure the window is properly dried. Another interesting feature is in the boot. Instead of a split tailgate like in older Discoveries, here engineers put a folding bench. On the one hand, it makes it harder to reach deep inside the boot, but at the same time it protects you from getting dirty when you lean on the bumper. You can also sit on the bench, for example to change your shoes. But I wanted to talk about the boot cover as well. It can be removed when you open the seats in the 3rd row, but when I carry luggage I prefer to cover it, and it turns out the boot cover is too low to put a carry-on size suitcase on its side. A lot of empty space remains behind. This time I filled it with other luggage, but would it be a problem to lift the boot cover by an inch?
The boot cover gets tangled in the 3rd row seat belts, which is ridiculous. There are sort of hooks to keep these seatbelts in place, however they are too shallow and seatbelts just slide out of them.
Land Rover Discovery is not cheap. This test example costs around 80,000 euros and is by no means fully loaded. I suggest you get electrically folding seats in the 2nd and 3rd row, not because folding seats is difficult, but because you get electrically folding headrests in the 2nd row. The middle one in particular obstructs visibility. When it is in place, you may just as well use only side mirrors.
This is a 340 horsepower supercharged 3-liter motor, and you can hear the supercharger whine at high RPM, which I shall demonstrate now. That's really cool. What's less cool is the fuel economy, or rather a lack of fuel economy. This car on B roads, when you're driving very, very carefully, will use almost 11 liters per 100 kilometers. On motorways, when you cross 120, 130 kilometers per hour, it will do 12 and a bit. And around the city, get ready for 16, 17 liters per 100 kilometers. Yes, you want this car with a diesel engine. Land Rover now has very, very good diesels. The 3-liter diesel is a gem. But regardless of the engine version, Land Rover Discovery is very, very comfortable indeed. Long journeys are a pleasure, although, in my opinion, active cruise control is a must on the options list.
Land Rover Discovery is a tall vehicle I can still get in with dignity, although I wouldn't mind additional handles on the A-pillars, like in older off-roaders. Ground clearance can be raised for off-roading or lowered for loading. Doors cover the sills so you won't get your trousers dirty getting in and out. Land Rover Discovery has plenty of storage. There are cubbies, shelves, 2 smartphone holders, plethora of USB charging points, and huge door bins. I like that. What I don't like is the infotainment system. It's not even about the interface, but general usability. Destination input takes ages. When you turn the car on, it displays the home screen even though sat-nav guidance is on. And then, when you get to your destination, the system continues navigating, even as you leave. What's the point?
As you can see, Land Rover Discovery is not a perfect car. There are no perfect cars. Before you buy, you have to decide for yourself what's good or bad, specifically for you in a given car. For me, the biggest plus of this car is the ride comfort and how it looks. It looks mighty good. And biggest minus is probably the infotainment system. I'm just not a big fan of it. So, what are your deal makers and deal breakers? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.